Good morning, people. We are halfway there. It's Wednesday, and today I'm talking about postural corrections. That's what Wednesday is all about for me. If you don't know what I'm doing, I am here every day at 9 a.m, Monday to Friday, to talk about the importance of movement, how you can move through your soreness and aching bodies that are probably in pain due to immobility. And so on different days I do different things. On Monday I like to do my full body mobilisation sequences. Tuesdays are generally saved or dedicated for hips and lower back. Today I do postural correction chat, which is a topic about your posture. And then I also like to do a dedicated upper body stretch that's happening for you tomorrow. And then on Fridays I like to do a special topic. And I would love to hear you guys, if you are suffering with a specific pain or an area that I haven't spoken about yet, please do tell me about it, because I'm always looking for new special topics to talk about on Friday. So hit me up so that I can do a chat about it. That would be amazing. I hope you guys are all having a lovely week so far, and I hope that you are ready for a little bit of a chat about posture. So I wanted to do one. Good morning, people that are popping on everywhere. Lovely to see you, especially you, Sham. Sham hasn't been very well this week, and I've missed her because she's usually here, all of them. So thank you so much, and I hope that you are on the mend and that you'll be back. You'll be back soon. Perfect. Okay, so posture corrections today. I'm talking about core strength, and why it's so important. And the reason why the core is so important, this is the core, is because it is the supporter of your whole body. And that's why it's important to have a strong core, especially in balance, especially in exercise. And when we do core work, it's not just to get a flat stomach. In fact, there's loads of people out there that have an amazingly strong core that don't have a flat stomach, but having a strong core is being able to internally be able to support yourself through movements. And they help you out a loads, because if you have a great core, then you probably have a pretty good posture, and you will be lessening your chance or risk of injuries. So yes, perfect. No, I love you more. There's my little Sham girl there, well done. So what I'm doing today, quick chat about the importance of core, and I'm going to do some demos of my favourite core moves. So if you're thinking, oh well, I'm never going to have a strong core, then check out these moves with me, because they're the ones that I do for people that don't have a strong core. One of my specialties is core. I actually love doing core. Everybody else loves doing core as well, but I do love teaching it, and I'm super effective at getting that core strength in there very quickly. All of my clients have been so amazed at how quickly that core strength can come on if you know what you're doing about it. We don't have to do 1,000 crunches, but you can do 1,000 crunches if you want to, because that does help your core as long as it's contracting. And you're doing it properly, then it is going to be good for you. So don't tend to listen to too much crap about crunches aren't effective and that you're only going to get a strong core during doing planks, because both of those have their places. Planks are amazing at getting core strength, and so are crunches. It just depends which one you prefer doing more. Some people are always going to tell you not to do something, but if it works and it makes sense, then do it, because there's always 100 ways to get somewhere, and there's not always one definitive way to do it. So if you're not a cruncher and you want to do planks, then you're going to get in there and do planks, because that is amazing for core strength. And crunches work more in contractions, but I'm going to show you a couple of moves that I do with my clients that are suitable for absolute beginners, and even people that have been doing workouts for a while, because you can slow this down and you can make it more intense. So the reason why we like a strong core is because that core does a lot of supporting. If you have a nice strong core, that's only ever going to help out the back there. If your core is weak and there's not much strength in it, then your back has to do more work because there's nothing out the front here to help it out. And also, you'll notice that if you have been doing these little stretches with me, I love to tell you to engage your bum and your core. And if you do that, you'll notice that even with a little bit of core engagement, that your posture kind of changes. There's a few more tips if you really want to get your holding form down properly. I bang on about them every single day. I've probably told you, you probably even know about them just by me chatting to you in the mornings about them, but there's 5 steps to perfect form. An amazing man called Kelly Starrett came up with those, and I've made a video about it. But even if you were just to do a setup to perfect form, little bum squeeze, a little core engagement, you will feel that it changes your whole standing posture. And you'll feel like you're giving yourself a nice hug from the inside. We're going to give that spine a nice hug from the inside. So even if you do nothing else apart from have a little bum squeeze and a core squeeze and try to move around with those engaged under engagement, you will feel the difference for yourself. So it's always good and it's perfect if that is literally all you do, so long as it is what you do all the time. So be on your mind about this good form and a little bum tuck and a core squeeze so that we can give our spine a little hug. That's really going to help you out. And also, from my own experience and training people, it has to be to a point of where you're like, oh, I'm going to do that again and again and again and again, and then it becomes normal, and then you'll be walking around and you'll actually just have that nice engagement as you go. If you are thinking, oh yeah, that sounds great, all I've got to do is squeeze my bum and squeeze my core and off I go, yeah, great. One thing I want you to be aware of, if that's what you're doing, is not to over-tense it. Don't give it a huge squeeze and a huge compression. You see that whilst I've done that, I'm actually finding it super hard to talk. And it actually is, it's not painful, but it's definitely contracted. And if I was to walk around like that all day, one, I'd probably give myself a backache because I'm too focused on that crunch. We just want a nice, or that hold, we just want a nice engagement, about a 20% engagement. So if you're on that 100, oh, I've got a little backache and I can't talk, but my stomach is squeezed in and my butt is squeezed in really tight, that's 100% engagement. So now what we're going to do is just have a little bit of a breathe out, and we're going to reduce the engagement as we go. Down from 100% all the way down to 50, down to 40, down to 30, down to 20. And that would be a nice hold or engage, suitable for a day life, that you can walk around and do that every day. So yeah, check that one out. And all I do when I'm playing that game is I'm just making sure I've got a little bum squeeze, I've got a little core squeeze, and I'm keeping that as I walk along. Good for the bum. Perfect. What else did I want to talk about? The core, strengthening the core exercises, yes, which is a little bit different for us. So usually I'm teaching you correctional exercises, but to get the core strong, we obviously are going to have to do a little bit of work there. So here's the moves that I do with clients that are wanting to develop a strong core, and even clients that are a little bit more experienced that tend to go through emotion rather than make a good movement. I'm going to give you an example of that. So here's sometimes what I see for people that work out a lot, even if you don't, but you go regularly. Sometimes when we're doing an ab move, there is a temptation to fling your body into it, where you'll be like, okay, and that's more of a back fling and a bit of a hip hinge there that I've got going on. It is a little bit my core, but it's more my core through momentum rather than it is strength. So if you're thinking, oh well, actually I would love to be able to do one of those with my core, but I'm never going to be able to, that's why some people do the little cheat and they'll stick their foot their little feet under the sofa or something, and I used to do that when I first started. There's no shame in it, no shame in that. It's helping your core realise that it's your core that's going to pick you up, and that you're going to massively bum squeeze as you bring yourself back down to the floor. So there's a good one. But what you can do to start off with, instead of flinging yourself and going through this whole motion in the first place, we're going to start by putting our hands on our knees. We're going to stick our little chest out, and then you're just going to massively bum squeeze as hard as you can. Bum squeeze, bum squeeze, bum squeeze, bum squeeze, whilst you lay down nice and slowly down to the floor. Good. Then if you have the core strength, of course, you're very welcome to get yourself up in a sit-up mode. But if you don't, you may as well put those hands down on the floor and push yourself up. Grab your knees, get back into that starting position, and then do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That slow hold and control comes from the bum squeeze. You could literally do, you would feel for yourself that these are actually quite tough. You could do, I like to start off with just doing 5 of those, with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, perfect. Once I've done those, you will feel that quite heavily in the front bit of your core. What I would do next is have a little lay down on the floor, and I'd put my hands under my bum, and then I'm going to very nicely, I'm just going to crunch my knees into my chest. I'm going to point my toes and I'm going to massively bum squeeze as I 3, 2, 1, back down to the floor. Re-engage the glutes and core. I'm going to crunch it back in again, and then I'm going to massively bum squeeze 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to the floor. I would do another 5 of these. Your legs can be really heavy when we're trying to train our lower core, and it can be really tempting to let your bum squeeze go, but then your back tends to get involved in this movement, and that's not what we want to do. So that's why it's nice to start from the floor, give your bums and core a little engagement, crunch it in, then you focus on nothing but a bum squeeze as you put your legs back down on the floor. And if you've been doing this one with me, you'd have felt this one really nicely in your lower core, which is great. Perfect. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to have a little roll over, and we're going to do a plank, because a plank is super effective. And it's not just for the core, it's for the back, and it's for the quads as well, and the chest and the shoulders. That's why we all love a good plank. Might not enjoy them, but they are great. Whilst we are planking, we're going to treat our elbows as if they are our anchors, so we're going to press and screw them into the floor to get some nice stability. From here, you can pick yourself up and then bum squeeze and core squeeze. Here's some things that I want you to be careful of. This isn't a plank. Bum up in the air isn't a plank. So if that happens to you, then try to bring it down. If you feel like then your bum sags into the floor, then I would suggest doing it on your knees. And this is so that your body doesn't have to fight the balance of gravity, but you can really still focus here on giving it a good bum squeeze and a good core engagement, and then you can hold it. If I'm doing this to start with, generally I like to see how long they can hold it for. So if you've got 5, 10, 15 seconds that you can hold it for, that's cool. Make a little note of it, and then aim to always get at least that time or a little bit more on your further training ones. I've got one more for you. And this is another holding one. So it's like the plank, but it's definitely not the plank. We're going to grab our knees, we're going to stick our chest out, we're going to massively bum squeeze, we're going to keep our chest up, and we're going to start to travel backwards. And it's around this point that your core takes control of this movement. Now if you haven't been training your core for a very long time, this movement can be very easy to fall into your lower back. So if that has happened to you, we're just going to always, if that happens to you, even when you're doing it, you're just going to come up, grab those legs, have a little rest, re-engage and get back into it. It does not matter if you only hold this for 3 seconds in the core and then come up for a rest. You'll see people that will hold this in an ineffective way, and they'll be feeling this all in their back. Well, that's not training their core. So don't worry about those people. You're just going to do what you can with the time that you can and reset it as many times as you need to. Again, I would play the same timer game here, so I would say like, oh, I've got 15 seconds, and I know that I might break 1 or twice in there, but I know that I can always grab my knees here to have a little rest. The other thing to help complete beginners, whilst you're doing this movement, you can very, very gently just pop your palms down behind you, and it's just going to help you with a little bit of stability, but you're still going to feel this in the core, and you can focus on your core and your bum whilst you do that as well. And honestly, those are the moves that I would do to help that core strengthen up, and yeah, they are super effective. I always use those ones for people that don't feel like they have much core, and they always tell me by the end of just week 1 how they weren't expecting to feel such a huge change there, but they did. So I hope that you all enjoyed that. Very good morning to everybody that has popped on. You are awesome. Morning, morning, morning. So yes guys, I wanted to do that because I know that everybody bangs on about having a great core, and I wanted to hopefully shed some light on why it's not just aesthetics to go for the core. That core is actually really your bread and butter. It's your thing that's going to keep you up and open and feeling strong for a long time. And if you get a nice strong core, you have a less chance of backache, less chance of slopey shoulders, less chance of a droopy neck. So yeah, core is good, not just for fitness, it is good for your life, and it's good for your body. And even if you don't really want to do that much, those few exercises there, they are my favourite exercises to do with new people or with people that don't have that core strength that they wish that they had. So I hope that you found that useful. Has anyone got any questions for me while I'm here? Nice. If you do have any questions later, my later crew, please don't be afraid to shout out. And if you have watched this, if you have done it, if you do feel the difference, if you've been having a chat with someone that's been moaning about their bad back and lack of exercise, share this little video with them, and hopefully they'll have a better day for it. Love it. Well, I'm going to wish you all a fantastic day. I hope you have a good one, and I will be back in the morning to talk about some upper body stretching. Love it. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.